A few days ago, Bill, you had a map that showed what appeared to be a Yates Oil Company application for permission to drill at a spot approximately 1 mile east of the Turquoise Trail Elementary School. Now, there are some things about that map suggested to me it may have been a very old thing rather than a contemporary proposal. But I wonder if anyone can tell me, is that really a current application to drill right now?
Nancy?
All of those are historical from the 80s. The only thing that we have that's new is this coming back into Federal Number 1.
I'm wondering what would be our first indication that a well like the one near Turquoise Trail Elementary School would be restarted? What would the first public notice be?
Pulling in here.
And I'm not joking, because they do this in the general. I mean, they file the paperwork, but you're supposed to have notification on federal and state lands, but on split estates, you know, maybe
So they
yes,
don't have to
maybe not.
file any further paperwork with the state or
We
county?
have to have
Yeah,
an
they
application
file it
with the county.
but nobody has to notify
Yeah.
you.
The county
And
attorney.
then they had to give us a 30-day notice, and we had 60 days to respond.
Well, you need to read that split estate, you know, our new surface use bill, because it depends, like with me, we fuss so much in San Juan County, we have notice. But some of the companies give it, some of them don't. And sometimes we notice that there's a well there, and sometimes it's not. It is so split. Do not count on the government to notify you that you're gonna have a well in your backyard.
But is there some office or website we can continually go to see if that information has been given to an office? So we can at least track it, track their,
Yeah, they can't drill until they get an APD. And you correct me if I'm doing any of this wrong, but in New Mexico.
New Mexico, 80.
Okay, New Mexico has, if it's on state land or on private land, it's filed with OCD. If it's on federal land, it's filed with your local BLM.
so it should be posted on
Yes,
OCD's
it should
website.
But the BLM website's never up.
But they sometimes aren't up to date when they do the posting.
That's
They-
Energy Minerals and Natural Resources website, and you click on, it's Oil Conservation Division, then you would click on OCD Online, and then you would follow it through. You could type, like, they'll ask you a certain question, you can just type in Santa Fe County, and then it'll list all the permits. There's only one permit issued at this particular point.
The well that they opened up out there, the guy who signed off on it's actually Santa Fe County Attorney. I think his name's Steve Ross or Roth. And he's the one who signed on the bottom line and gave him permission to go. Because when I found out about it, I was hot. And I went down there and realized that once they had the permission, they can't be withdrawn.
Steve Ross also used to be, just a note of historic interest, used to be the general counsel for OCD before he was a Santa Fe County attorney.
I agree with David Bacon's suggestion that we really need to focus on working with the county and see how we can collaborate with the county to get control of the regulations and what we can do. There is an organization in the West, the Sonoran Institute, who has a tremendous amount of experience based in Colorado, basically, and Wyoming, where they have been working for the last decade, I think nearly, on oil and gas issues, how to actually mobilize groups like this, bring them effectively in touch with the counties, with state officials, how to set up effective collaborative mechanisms to basically fulfill the mission of drilling Santa Fe. And they go as far as really trying to balance out the long-term local and regional economics with and without oil and gas, different levels, train people through workshops how to be effective. Not only volunteer groups like this, even county people.
Also, there's a petition that we've been floating around, and if you have a chance, you want to read it and you want to sign it, I would encourage you to do so. That would go to the county.
The petition also allows you to write your own comment down if you have one.
Just wondered whether Santa Fe really needs any money. And if it does, I'd like to make a donation.
Yes, because this is going to be a long, drawn-out process, and we are looking at bringing in help. Huh?
Are you going to be a C3 organization?
We are a C3.
You are.
been told to me by one of the people who was involved in all of the negotiations that led to the final bill is that the only way that they were going to be able to get language that would pass the legislature would be to come up with language that was ambiguous. So right now, what you have is you have the statute that says that you, and I can't quote the statute verbatim, but you have a statute that does say that you are entitled to the loss in value of your land and the title and loss of value to your improvements. The big question, though, is, well, what does the loss in value of your land and improvements mean? Does that mean that, if you have a 5-acre lot with a house on it, that an oil company is going to have to compensate you for a 1 or 2 acre site for that particular site where they have done some sort of ground disturbing work? Or are they going to have to compensate you for the diminution in the value of your entire property? That's a question that will not be answered until the first lawsuit is filed, when somebody tries to get compensation from an oil company. I happen to live right now on County Road 55A, right near Black Trail number 1. And an old well from it was drilled in 1982 and never produced, is about 200 feet in front of my house, right in front of my house, which, as I said, is on 44 acres. So, I think to myself, okay, if an oil company comes in and puts in a new well there and does its associated pad and its pit and the road, what am I going to be entitled to? Am I going to be entitled to, the hundreds of thousands of dollars in loss of value to my property? Or am I going to be entitled to what the oil company says is the value of those two particular acres?
We have a large ranch between Farmington and Durango. So we're in Colorado, so I'm not sure how that changes laws and legislation. I'm guessing the wrong guy. But we get quite a bit of money from that, actually, and I'm actually going to school on that. So I don't know, I'm not sure how it's different here than there, or what the situation is. Because if I'm going to get paid for them drilling here, that's kind of fine with me. But
some of the things that you have to consider. If you have a percentage of the royalties and you're going to make big bucks, then maybe you're going to feel differently about it than you, that you don't have your royalties, or you, where they're going to put it right in the middle of your, front door. It's going to be such an individual thing. But something I forgot to tell you is every one of the landmen, the people that come around to lease your property, have been to what I call oil and gas charm school. And they are absolutely the nicest people in the whole world. They truly are. They are as nice a people as you could ever ask to be around. And they will encourage you to sign something. I can promise you that nothing that you sign that they hand you on a form from their company is in your benefit. So if they come to your door, the first thing is get you a good lawyer. And the second thing I would tell you is that they say, we're going to make this special deal with you. We're going to give you $20,000 an acre for your property. But I really don't want you to tell your neighbors. That's the first clue. Don't have anything to do with it.
On the New Mexico legislative website, you Google, you'll be able to get there, and then go to Andy Nunez. He was the sponsor of the bill, so you'll be able to find the Surface Owners Protection Act there, and you can pull up either the PDF or an HTML version of the bill.
The New Mexico Environmental Law Center has agreed today to accept us.
Great.
If you would, send emails in on your questions, what you wanted to have at that next meeting, and when we have experts like David here.
A phone call to our commissioners, to all 5 of them. If they heard from this many people, they would be alert and ready to start working on some really good rates.
Any last questions?
No, Jack Sullivan is our current county commissioner if you live in Alvarado. Jack is term limited. He will be done in a few months. They will be looking for someone to replace him. So we might consider running somebody that is agreeable to this agenda we've been talking about.